Well, hello all and welcome. Hope you're all doing well. I'd like to start by thanking you all with regards to the comments and the really nice comments that some of you made where you think I should have a lot more subscribers than I do. Ask me why that is. I don't know, you out there think I do must be really good because of you saying I should have more subscribers, but life is life, and don't ask me why I don't get. I seems to have reached the 500 mark and now it's frozen, and I don't know why. Just one of those things. But thank you all very much for the kind words. It did make me feel a bit humble, actually, that some of you should think that, you know, I'm that good. I should have a lot more subscribers. I don't really see it myself, but hey ho. And the other thing that I'd like to point out as well is I believe some people have had trouble in leaving comments. Now, I don't know why. I do not fiddle with any settings. I don't block people. That isn't my way. I leave it for anybody to say anything. I have had some really weird and wonderful comments left before now, but I think they've been by idiots, which I've not even reported to YouTube. I've just deleted and that's it. But I do believe there is some that are struggling with leaving comments. The best, if you put a comment up and you don't see it come up, contact me by email. On my contact page you'll see an email address there. Contact me through that email address and I'll have a look and see what's what. I don't pretend to be a computer whiz. I can log on, I can scroll through things, get into YouTube and look at stuff. I can edit my videos, and that is about my barra. That after that it's all over my head. But that's another, to me that is the number one way of contacting me, because I check my emails regular, as in daily. I go through my emails, and so if anything is untoward, or you even want to drop me just a personal message to say I should have more followers, more subscribers than I should, you know what I mean. But if you want to contact me directly, email is the way to do it. So on this one, well, if you could see round the greenhouse here, it's a bit rammed. I've got onions, I've got beetroot, I've got lettuce. I'm going to be potting on some tomatoes. These are pink Brandywine. These should have been potted on a while back, but hey ho. And these are some Gardener's Delight that should have been potted on. The others that I've got, they've all been done. But I'm going to do these a little bit differently, because I'm going to do what I did last year, and I'm going to use root trainers. And the idea behind that being that, as you can see how tall these are, I can bury some of this into there so that, you know, there's a smaller top, shall we say. And also they can stay in the root trainers until they're ready to go out, because, you know, when you look at that, that's a lot of area for roots to develop in, so I shall leave them in there. So I've got that I'm doing. I've got some rocket, some Lola Rosso that I'm going to do, and again some more forget-me-nots, which again have come from Vets for Pets. That's because we had to have one of our cats put down. about a week ago now. She'd gone off of food, and we didn't know, but inside her mouth there was like a growth, and it was going down, sort of down into her throat, and she was losing weight. And unless we were prepared to spend a lot of money on biopsies and blood tests and what have you, I mean, she was 18 years old, so that's a good age for a cat. It's sad, yeah, but that's that job done. So I've now got some more forget-me-nots, so I'm gonna have a lot of forget-me-nots in the garden this year, that's for sure. I've got one or two other things that I want to show you as well. I've got some of my potatoes in round on the allotment. I've got one lot and last lot to go in, so I'm going to show you with them, and there'll probably be other little bits and bobs I'll show you as well. So without further ado, we'll crack on and we'll get these tomatoes done. Right, I'm going to do the tomatoes. So I've got these pink Brandywine, and what I'm going to do, I only want about 8 of them anyway, and then I only want about 10, 12 or so of the Gardener's Delight, but I'm going to put them on and bring them on in here. This is ordinary peat, clover peat based compost. The lighter bits in it are some clover that was on the bench here, and it had dried out, so I've just put this straight in, mix the two up, use it up, and all as I've done is I've just taken, only just about half filled these, so that then when I take the plants out I can then just drop them in and then fill them from there. The thing now is, where is my dibber? That's vanished now. Here we go, here we go. Right, so let's take some of these out of here, give us a chance to look at some root structure. Should be quite healthy roots. Hold them by the leaf, not the stem. Start at the back. And I think that'll do, and then we'll just fettle a bit of compost in. That'll do, and I'll, as you can see, if I show you, see, quite a good root structure developed there. And just drop that in, push that down a little bit of compost around them, because what will happen, you see, is let's just take that. Now what will happen with these is, with me putting that further down, so with the soil, say burying another inch or so of that, what will then happen is roots will start to form on this part of the stem as well, and so it gives the plant that little bit of extra strength. I don't want to touch the stem because they've got very fine little hairs and you can damage them. And I believe, and this is not this by no way is this a comment with regards smokers and non-smokers, but I believe that if you smoke, you should wash your hands thoroughly before you handle tomato plants, because I forget now, I've seen it somewhere or read about it somewhere, but there's a disease that can be transferred through tobacco onto tomato plants, so I believe. How true that is, I don't know. Please tell me. Let me know whether that's just somebody I don't think it was the 1st of April when I found out, when I read about that or saw it. I forget now where it was, but anyway, I'm not going to bore you to death now with doing any more of these. I've got all these. Well, I'm not going to fill all of these, but I'm going to fill quite a few. So I'll get on and do these, and when I've finished I'll bring you back and show you what I've done. Right, there we are, all done. We've got the forget-me-nots in there. All as I've done with them, last time I did forget-me-nots, I just lightly covered them with a bit of vermiculite, and they're a bit patchy with coming up, so I'm going to try something different this time round. And I've sewn them, I've just patted them, and I'm going to leave them, and we'll see if they come up any better that way. Lettuce, Lollo Rosso, Rocket, a variety called Buzz, that's gone in there. The reason for doing some more Lollo Rosso is because I'd sown some a while back, and this is Lollo Rosso mix, so that looks like that's the only one that's gonna, oh yeah, maybe those two might have a bit of a red tinge, these two haven't, but I've got some more down there, but I just thought show you these, and that's why I'm now doing some more, because I'm just waiting for the weather to stabilise a bit, and they'll be going out on the plot and in my veg truck. And the tomatoes, the pink Brandywine, I've done 8 of those, and then I've done 12 of the Gardener's Delight. Basically going to have 5 of them in here, and then I'm thinking of having some maybe out on the decking for a change. I've got some big pots about so big in diameter and about that deep, and they've had dahlias in them, and although they've been put in the greenhouse for protection over winter, I don't think they've survived. Nothing, there doesn't seem to be any more shoot, but I'm not going to rush to dig them up and find out. I mean, if they do start, if I find out there are a few shoots, they'll be left, because I've got other bigger containers that I can put some in. But if those dahlias are duff, then they'll be got out, and we'll have some tomatoes on the decking for a change. So that is it. That's the bit of seed sowing and a bit of potting on of tomatoes. So that's that job done. Right, I've got a little bit of something to show you relating to tomatoes. Actually, when I've got the tomatoes in the buckets in here, and I've got the canes in, and we're tying them up, I've been using this ordinary Velcro. It's from a garden store, comes on a roll. It's about, I don't know, it's about a 2 metre length, 6 foot long, whatever, and you know, you can use it either way and so on, and it's good stuff. It does its job. But I was nosing around at a garden centre, and I came across this, which is pre-cut, obviously reusable, fully adjustable. You could say it's recycling, really. And what it is, it's Velcro, as it would say on there, but it's obviously very, very fine. And when you, I mean, I shall probably take it out of this once I start using it, but there is a, there it is. There you go. And it tears off to that length. Now that is perfect. You know, if it's something big it's going around, voila, it really sticks well. Anything smaller, voila, you don't really need me to tell you. But like I say, when I saw it, and I thought, wow, that's perfect, that is. I think it was about It was about £3, not sure. I know it wasn't particularly expensive. It's got it's 20 centimetre, 1.2 centimetres long, or 1 metre 2. Says 25 ties, it says on there. And I thought to myself, I'm going to just bob that back on there. And there we are, that's ready to use. But I saw that, you know, and as I say, although that is perfectly fine, you have to cut this to length yourself, which isn't really that much of an issue. But I thought with this, and you've got them that set length, when you're finished with them, better store them in a bag or a little container or something, and keep using them and using them. So but yeah, I just thought I'd show you that. It's like I say, but how well this would hold something like a sunflower, I don't know. I've got a feeling this, which is somewhat heavier duty, might be better on something like a sunflower. But this, with regards cucumbers, tomatoes, even peppers, I would say this is going to be really good. But I just thought I'd show you that, and like I say, another little useful arsenal in the gardener's pocket, shall we say. Well, I was going to say I've now got something completely different for you, but it isn't actually. It's still gardening related. It's a trip to Mr. Smith's garden. I've got my mate Dave to thank for sending me the link to this. What I've done is, I'll explain a little, but I've put some clips together. It'll give you a bit of a taste, a bit of a flavour of the gentleman concerned. He's got quite a good sense of humour as well. The first clip that I've put together, he's sowing some lettuce, and then he's doing some successional sowing with regards some more lettuce and other salad crops. And then the other little bit is a little bit about his seed saving, and he's telling you about his onions, drying his onions out and so on. One thing I will say is this, I think, was filmed round about maybe mid to late 70s, early 80s, I'm not sure. But you just watch this bit of a clip, and I think you'll enjoy this.
The lettuce in a frame and harden it off, and to make sure there's absolutely no check to growth, I mark out the site and put the closures over it for 3 or 4 days before I move the lettuce out, and that pre-warms the soil, and there's absolutely no check. The growing conditions are perfect. And no one wants 20 or 30 heads of lettuce all ready at once, so I use plants to make up the first part of the row, and to ensure a continuity I sow the next part with seed. Now that gives me a 14-day interlude. And there's more to a salad than just lettuce. To add variety and to get it more under the closures, some salad onions, a few radish, and they will make a beautiful summer salad. The sort of thing that makes your mouth water with a hard-boiled egg. That soil is warm. Those plants won't know that they've been moved. And you don't need much. All you're trying to ensure is a continuity. But the big and most important thing to do when you're sowing a lot of different things under closures, mark them as you go on. Don't think, oh, I can remember where that one was. And this is a useful small variety, Tom Thumb. It's good for cloche work, but not so good in the middle of the summer because it tends to scorch a little bit under bright sunshine. Don't tip too many into your hand, or the tendency then is to saw too thick. Just enough to do a 12-foot run. Scatter them thinly. Just enough to keep a continuity. Do that at fortnightly intervals through the summer. The next, some Cherry Bell radish. I have a partiality for radish. They give a piquancy to salads. 10 feet will be ample. Sufficient to cause indigestion anyway. And Cherry Bell is a very fine flavoured radish. Not too sharp. Kiddies love it. And these are bigger seed. They give you more to go at. And then next on the list, some salad onions, because no salad is complete without onions. And onion seeds are small and black, so you've got to be very careful to get them in thinly. And all you've got to do, shuffle the row in. The April showers are what bring the seeds up, of course. They may be cold on occasions, but it's what encourages germination. I move the line over about 7 inches, and that gives you a guideline when you're putting the cloches down. Now, cloches are just 2 sheets of glass held together by wire, and it's quite easy to make them at home. But to avoid turning them into a wind tunnel, you block the end up once they're in position. And then the plants are as snug in there as they would be in a greenhouse. And the strange thing is, no matter how hard the wind blows, they don't blow over. I've had cloches down when the whole of the garden was being wrecked by a gale force wind, and because there's nothing for the wind to get hold of, they stay there. And the rainwater runs down the side, and the water penetrates through and reaches the roots of the plant. It's extraordinary how water moves in the soil. I used to think I'd have to lift them off and water them, but you don't. The plants get all they need. I'm a firm believer in the fact that you can build up a strain of French beans, for example, or runner beans that suit your particular soil. Broad beans are very good, peas are very good, and over the years you don't introduce any sort of disease into the land at all by doing this, but you do seem to get a variety of vegetable that actually suits the soil and climate that you're growing in. And another bonus, of course, is it's a lot cheaper, because you do get an enormous quantity, a root of French beans like that, and we've eaten French beans until I nearly look like them, and yet there's all those left. Now, the great thing is to choose seeds from plants that are absolutely disease-free, that are absolutely true to type, that are completely healthy. And I will hang that up in a shed and let them dry off naturally, so all the nutriment goes back into the pots. And one of the snags with gardening, you know, is that you don't like to leave it alone, that in winter you want to be gardening even though the weather outside is impossible. And one of the pleasant jobs on a winter's evening is to shell your French beans or your runner beans or your broad beans and clean them and put them away in packets. Save them for the sowing time the following year. Those are almost ripe for shelling now, the pods are splitting. The runner beans, well, they could do with about another fortnight, 3 weeks on the plant itself. I pull the haulm off and hang them up as with the French beans, but they're beautiful. They're almost good enough for flower arranging. The broad beans, well, they were ready early, and this is a smashing strain of broad bean. And that's good seed. It's as clean a seed as you'll get from a nurseryman. And of all the vegetables, I started saving my own peas the first. And I've got a strain that I must have had now, 15 years. And that's a sample of them. They're just about ready. The pod's dry. The haulm which holds the seed is dry. There's no nutriment going up there now. And they're ready for taking off. And remember that The way you store the seed is of vital importance. It's a living, breathing entity. The little seed is alive. If you put it in too dry conditions, you'll kill it. You'll dry it right out, it'll die. If you put it in too wet conditions, it'll probably start to grow or it'll rot. And so clean them, put them in packets, label them, and put them somewhere where they're going to keep in the best possible condition. I find a drawer in the spare bedroom's as good a place as any. The dews are getting so heavy now that it's impossible really to ripen onions off thoroughly, to get them to that bullet hard condition when they'll store for the next 6 months. So bring them into the frame, put them on a dry base, don't lay them on the soil or they take up moisture from the ground underneath. Put them on a piece of glass or a piece of hardboard, and that is a beautiful specimen of an onion. Smells and feels right, and it's so firm at the base, so hard you can't press your finger into it. That's the way to test an onion. If it's soft there or it's soft round the neck of the plant, then it's no good for storing. Put it to one side so you can use it early. With that, you could play cricket with it in a test match. And a little crack of air on the flame ensures that you get the air circulation taking the moisture away, and then you can tie them into bunches and hang them up in the shed on any frost-free place, and those will keep right through until April, May next year.
Well, hope you enjoyed that. It's great. You see what I mean about with the sense of humour. But on a serious side, I've learnt a few things watching his videos. I'll put a link in the description below so that you can go on and have a look at these. And he does a range, shall we say, because I think he does a couple with regards of veg garden. He does one with regards greenhouse. I think he does one herbs, rockery, lawn, and I've found them all quite fascinating. And as I say, his sense of humour, as you saw there, comes through a little bit from time to time, and I don't mind repeating myself and saying, Dave, thank you very much for sending me the link. And I think there's something that we can probably all learn, because although they were filmed some years ago, there's still some things that are quite relevant. And there may be one or two things that are quirky. I mean, as an example, he's growing some tomatoes, some potatoes, and he's growing them in a way that I would never have thought of. If you have a look through with the vegetable ones, you'll see exactly what I mean. But you know, he's growing them. We normally like dig a hole, put them in, blah, so on. This is a little bit different when the way he's doing these potatoes. And I thought to myself, that's good, yeah, I might try that next year. So I just thought you might like that. As I say, something a little bit different, a trip to Mr. Smith's garden, and it fantastic. I keep looking through them. I've looked through them for a few weeks now, and in fact it's probably one of the few things that I've sort of gone back on and watched and gone back on, you know, and so on. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, so thanks for watching that. Well, here we are on the plot, and I've got some potatoes that I want to put in. To be perfectly honest, I've got a lot of little jobs that I want to get done, and I'm hoping to get them done this week. But the potatoes, they need to go in, because today is the 1st of May. I have already put 5 rows in, and these are 3 more rows. These are some King Edwards that are going in, and these are 3 more rows, the last 3 rows that will be going in. So I just thought I'll show you what I'm doing. It's same sort of process as I used last year, but I'll spin you around and I'll show you exactly what's what. Right, as you can see, I've dug the trench. That is the depth of a spade, which is what, about 8-10 inches, something like that. I've now got in here, I've got some spent compost from last year's tomatoes in the greenhouse. I've added some pelletised chicken muck and a little bit of fish blood and bone. And what I'm going to do, let's start from that end actually. And I'm just adding a little bit. I could do it literally where each potato is going to go, but I'm going to add it along the entire row. Go right the way through. That's just to give, just basically to put a bit of something good around. Break that up a bit. Just to, I've put that in really just to give, I suppose it'd be a bit like putting some manure in the bottom before you started putting your potatoes in. So we'll get the potatoes. These, I'll show you these because these are, well, as you can see, definitely crying out to go out. And we're going to go about 18 inches apart. Get the good old ruler. And put that a bit further that way. And then the last one just towards the end of there. And what I'm going to do with that, they are now in, and I'll cover them, each potato, with a good dollop of the compost mix. Now I've done this is what I've done for all my potatoes. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is get the fork and use it basically as a rake. And it's as simple as that really. There's a lot of worms in this, that's for sure. So that's always, to me, that's always a good sign of good soil or healthy soil. And what I've done with the worms, as I've come across them, they've gone into the bottom of the trench, because you need to have the worms in the ground doing their work. You don't want them left on top. And there we go. It's quite a simple job, a little time consuming. And the thing to do as well is just put a post in to mark the row. That's right. And always measure up. There we go. And that is basically it. It's as simple as that. I'll just work this ground. Leaves me a little bit of ground here now to just a little bit there. I might get a row of onions in the end of there, who knows, because I've left enough room now for earthing up. I don't necessarily have to do it that way. I could have just put a line in and used a hand trowel, dug a separate hole, put the potatoes in that way. A fella plot holder last year, he dug the ground, earthed it up, then using just the spade handle, he pushed it in to the earthed up soil, dropped the potatoes in, and then closed it all up. So there are various different ways with regards to putting potatoes in, but as I say, it's 1st of May today, and I nearly didn't come round because it started raining early on, and then I thought, well, I've got to go in, so let's crack on and get them done. So the other thing that we must remember, I nearly forgot then, labels. Don't forget to label them up. There we go. That line can come up now. So there we have it. That's the last of my potatoes gone in for this year. Well, that's it for this one. Thank you all very much for watching. It really is very much appreciated. Thank you. As you can see, I've just come back from a party with regards celebrating the coronation of King and Queen. So that was a good time was had by all. Please pop along and look at those videos with regards Mr. Smith's garden. I think they're absolutely fantastic. I've learnt a lot from them, and I find them fascinating, really interesting, and as I say, he has got a bit of a funny sense of humour at times as well. I'm glad I've potted on the tomatoes and got the last of those potatoes out. They definitely needed doing, so you could say it's now all in the hands of Mother Nature now. So once again, thank you all for watching. Until the next time, be good, look after yourselves, look after each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra a bit.